draw, but everything on the bottom was respect.
We need to play the games to level this out, Lifu.
I'm a bird, mother. I'm a bird.
The title of the video is Yakuza Actors Denied Source Material. Prime Videos admits they will ignore the source material. And yes, as Zen said, this is where Warhammer is gonna be at.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we talk about Amazon Prime a lot. And the reason why we talk about Amazon Prime a lot is because this particular studio, whether you're talking about from their video games, movies, or whatever, this particular studio is such a weird bipolar studio. They're very much like Warner Brothers in a way, where they'll put out a banger, and then all of a sudden they'll put out 5 flops, right? And it makes you wonder, if they're capable of such bangers, why do they keep like trying to invest in these massive flops, right? They have by far the biggest flop in television history, which is Rings of Power. They spent over $1 billion on that for 2 seasons, and both of the seasons are gonna fail. The first one failed massively. The second one is gonna fail even worse now because community sentiment is so apathetic towards, like, they don't give a fuck about Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power anymore. They don't care. The most people are not even gonna bother reacting to it, aside from the obvious people. Now we have another example as to why these stories fail, and it's because Like a Dragon Yakuza actor has revealed that Prime Video banned him and others from playing the game so the show could explore characters from scratch.
What? Bro, are you serious? Yo, it got to the point where the actors like, yo, you don't allow us to freaking play the games?
They cannot play the games, they cannot read up. Bro.
Yo, the actors were literally willing to play the games. Like, yo, we need to be locked in. Nope. Prime Video's like, nah.
Would that be considered Amazon sabotaging actors and their reputation?
I'm gonna flip.
This right here is the biggest problem when it comes to them adapting content, right? It's very similar to what's happening with Borderlands right now. If you're telling your actors, if you're telling everybody who's working on this project,
Well, I don't think it's the same as with Borderlands.
hey, don't play the game for which the project is based off of. That is a huge red flag to me. That tells me that you're going to do absolutely nothing that's going to make people recognize this IP in the slightest. They're going to watch this show expecting to see something similar to the video game, and they're going to get something completely different. You're going to subvert their expectations for whatever reason.
God.
And usually that reason is, without a doubt, to interject wokeness to some extent. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says actor Ryoma Takuchi, who plays Kiryu in Prime's Video's upcoming live-action adaptation of Like a Dragon Yakuza, revealed that he was banned from playing the games so the show could explore characters from scratch.
Bro, what?
Imagine having to fill out the shoes of a character like Kiryu and you're not allowed to.
Study the character.
Jeez.
You can't study. It's like literally going to a Shakespearean theater, and then it's like, okay, your role is Romeo, but you can't read the original thing.
I genuinely feel like they're literally intentionally putting in like millions to ruin that one kid's life.
Honestly, this has to be a hit piece. This whole show has to be a hit piece. There's no freaking way.
This is so staged. It's wild. Like, there's absolutely no freaking way. There is absolutely no freaking way. I'm gonna try to stay positive. I know Amazon is a shithole, but I'll at least will try to trust in the skill of these actors and the willingness of these actors.
Speaking with Games Radar at San Diego Comic-Con, Takuchi shared, "I know these games. Everybody in the world knows these games, but I haven't played them." He then revealed the production team stopped him from playing the games. "I'd like to try them, but they had to stop me because I wanted to. They wanted to. For the character in the script, explore from scratch. That's why I decided not to play." So essentially, the people who are writing this show, the people who are adapting this particular TV show from the game, they're gonna do whatever the fuck they want to do with it. We're gonna have a
Okay, now that he scrolled down, I do feel like he has a bit of a too soft of a face for Kiryu.
another Borderlands situation on our hands, just in TV show format. Because if you're telling your actors don't play the game of which this fucking TV show is based off of, you're gonna have a major problem. Like, just read the red flags, right? The writing is on the wall. When they've done stuff like this, and they have done stuff like this, right? They did this with Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power too. The showrunner said they went back to the books, but they told everybody else, do not read the books because we don't want you to have a preconceived notion of the characters of which you're going to be adapted.
Can someone explain to me why would that be even like a thought to tell your cast not to refer to the original source? Like, I genuinely want to understand where they're coming from with that thought process, because no matter how I try to think about it, I do not understand it. Face.
They don't want to make money just like Disney.
Yeah, they don't want to make money.
No one wants to make money nowadays, apparently.
Right? But the showrunners were allowed to read it, supposedly, even though they completely ignored everything about it. It's the same situation here. His fellow actor Kento Kaku, who also plays Akira Nishikayami, also added, I definitely knew the property very well, but I didn't realize the franchise was this globally big.
Wait, yeah. Look, if they switch out the actor, so this one who is playing the best friend, the one above is who's playing Kiryu. If they switch that up, it will be even better.
I'm genuinely afraid if they ruin the man, the myth, the legend, Majima, Goro.
We decided we would make sure we would do our own version, relive the characters, take their spiritual elements, and embody them on our own. Then there was a clear line we wanted to draw, but everything on the bottom was respect.
We need to play the games to level this out, Lifu.
That sounds like he was paid to say that.
He concluded. I hope that's the case. I really do. I genuinely do, because the Yakuza games are actually pretty damn good. They're fun. They're so prototypical, you know, like kind of like a Japanese game, but at the end of the day, it's actually really good shit, man. And a lot of people do like them. This is likely a recipe for a disaster, which I agree. This had red flags everywhere. Like, if we were on a football field, there'll be red flags everywhere. And the show will be nothing like the video game series it is based on. In fact, George R.R. Martin has been raising the alarm bells about Hollywood studios, producers, showrunners, and others disrespect.
He's been doing that for a while.
Yep.
He is not even like censoring himself. He's blatantly calling out all these shows and movies. I think what really got to him was the Lord of the Rings shit.
To the source material when it comes to their adaptations. In a recent blog post, Martin discussed the dragons in Game of Thrones and compared and contrasted them to various other dragons, such as J.R.R. Tolkien's Smaug and Verumthrax, fuck that up, pejorative in Dragon Slayer, as well as Toothless in How to Train Your Dragon, among others. After detailing how adaptations of his series got the Targaryen heraldry wrong by including dragons with 4 limbs rather than 2, Martin asserted fantasy needs to be grounded. It is not simply a license to do anything you like. Smaug and Toothless may be both dragons, but they should never be confused. Ignore canon and the world you've created comes apart like tissue paper. I mean, isn't this the guy who basically ignored his own canon, though? I guess it is what it is because he's alive, right? But when it comes to his work, I mean, he's willing to sell his canon off as long as he gets paid a nice little penny from whoever's adapting his work, right? So I don't really take what he says seriously, but I mean, it's George R.R. Martin. What are you going to do? This time he made such comments, he bashed Hollywood screenwriters and producers for believing that they can improve on the source material of standout authors such as Ian Fleming, Stan Lee, J.R.R. Tolkien, and others when they attempt to adapt their stories or film television. Now, this is one of the biggest issues I have with all of this, okay? The fact that you have modern-day screenwriters, right? You have modern-day writers that work on TV shows and movies. And these people are such narcissists. These people have such balls that they genuinely believe that they can write better than people who came before them, that their works that
So we're right on the nose with what we said as well, that they just think they can do a better job.
Yeah, it's an ego, narcissistic
But imagine
vibe.
saying it with Yakuza series, that they can do it better.
They can't. No one can.
I'm gonna laugh so hard when it drops and flops.
like they're adapting their works, right? Remember in Rings of Power, when they said this, okay? I'm not making this up. They said that they were going to write the book that Tolkien never wrote. Imagine that, right? Imagine saying that you're going to write the book that Tolkien never wrote. The amount of narcissism that it takes to say something like that is absolutely insane. You're just a fucking writer on a TV show, and you're not even making your own content. You have to adapt someone else's content because you can't make up something that people are gonna love for fucking decades, right? Lord of the Rings is one of the longest established IPs in time, at least in modern, literacy history. It's insane how many people know about Lord of the Rings, okay? It is, I think, the second most or third most translated piece of work in history, okay? The only one that beats it is the Bible. That is literally it. So you're meaning to tell me that you're gonna write something that is gonna last the test of time more than Tolkien? You're gonna write something that he never wrote? Are you fucking kidding me? He wrote everything he meant to write for the most part. Obviously, he did die, unfortunately, before finishing some of the work, but that's where his son took over. But still, it takes a lot of narcissism to do it, and that's what's infecting Hollywood right now.
This is why I'm a little bit happy that no one's doing adaptations of Discworld for Terry Pratchett, because I feel like with the way everything is going with these movies, it would have been a disaster.
We're filled, or I should say we're surrounded by writers and producers and directors that all have this narcissistic point of view that they're going to do it better than the old guys, right? They're going to do better than Stan Lee. They're going to do better than Tolkien. Well, guess what? Every single time that you guys think that you can do that, you fail, you flop, because you don't have the creativity or the mindset that is necessary to actually do the work of which you are adapting properly. He wrote on his blog, everywhere you look, there are more screenwriters and producers eager to take great stories and make them their own. It does not seem to matter whether the source material was written by Stan Lee or whatever. It doesn't matter. No matter how major a writer is, no matter how great the book is, there's always seems to be someone on hand who thinks he could do better, eager to take the story and improve on it. Well, that's the thing. Just like Tolkien said.
Well, history already showed that they cannot do it better at all.
Evil cannot create anything. They can only corrupt what was already created by good. That is exactly what's happening here. You have these writers that are unable to create anything on their own. They don't have the creativity. They don't have the mindset to do it. So the only logical thing that they can do is adapt someone else's work and try to make it their own. That is not how this works. This is why it continues to keep failing over and over. The only reason George R.R. Martin's work is even remotely successful still in a TV or film adaptation is because he himself is still alive to be involved. If he was dead, I guarantee you they would have went crazy with it. They would have absolutely went so fucking wild with his work that even he himself would not even be able to recognize it.
Yep.
It would not be what it is today. So lucky for him, he's still alive. But unfortunately, you can't really say that for a lot of these legendary writers. And it just goes to show if
Unless he inherits it to the right person. Like, for example, Terry Pratchett, he inherited the entirety of Discworld to his daughter.
Yep.
they're gonna keep having this mindset like they are with Yakuza, then man, I'm just not looking forward to this in the slightest. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video.